All right, everyone, welcome back. I'm here with Purvi, and she is a physical therapist. She is just an amazing person. She's a very talented dancer and a very good friend. So, yeah, hey, Purvi.
Hey, Megan.
We have these conversations all the time, and I feel like it just needs to be recorded. So that's why we're here today. And I think it would help a lot of people understand the gap between your physical body and your energetic body and what that means, and kind of grounding into your body, and how that ties in with a lot of physical healing. So earlier today, we were just talking about shoes. Purvi's buying a new pair of shoes and getting rid of old ones, and the importance of shoes, right? And how it all kind of starts from the ground up. So I guess, can you just give me your physical therapist perspective on shoes and feet and kind of what that correlates to for the rest of your body, if it does?
Yeah. So I feel like I said this to you before, but if there's anything that I would really splurge on, it would probably be shoes. They're so important to help support your body no matter what surface you're on, but also really bridge the connection between you and the ground, and in a comfortable way, essentially. I think grounding can occur how we normally think of, like walking barefoot through the grass and through nature, but day to day it's almost protective over allowing you to do that long term, and shoes are like a buffer between the two.
That makes sense.
And everyone has such different structure. Like, their feet are so different. They need different, they have different needs when it comes to shoes, and based on their activities, they need like either a running shoe or a tennis shoe or, an everyday shoe. So like something I was looking for. So based on like what you need and what your body needs, you need to be able to find the best shoe for you. So that's why I usually recommend a brand or the most popular trending brand. I just recommend that you try as many different shoes as you can. Go to a place where they do like a whole like foot assessment and try everything on until you find something that is exactly for you, and like have people help you there. But like, don't settle for just like anything, because I think it's a really, really important step towards longevity and like continuing to feel grounded throughout the day. Like, I can tell that my body stores way more stress, way more energy when I'm not wearing a supportive pair of shoes throughout the day, especially being on my feet. Like, I would much rather invest in longevity there than not, So
Wow.
Yeah.
So much came in for me when you were talking about that, because it just all points back to self-care and making that time for yourself.
Yeah.
Like, to be honest, I wouldn't think to give myself an hour at a shoe store to really give myself that foundation I need for something that I wear for hours in a day, that, something that I do strenuous activity in. And I think I was not conscious of a lot of the different options there were as well. So I guess just simply just going and doing our research and having different pairs. How many pairs do you recommend that we have? Because there's a lot of different activities we do.
Yeah, that's a good question. I don't want to like feed into consumerism. That's because I think the whole point is to like find the abundance in less. But I do think that like you should have a pair of supportive sneakers or shoes that you can wear day to day, like just day to day, like doing errands, casual outings, basically a pair of shoes you live in. And those should be like ultra comfort, ultra supportive. Like, you can stand in that for like 5-6 hours and be fine.
Okay. I love that. I love your take on the abundance aspect as well. So even just one pair of really good shoes is a good investment into yourself if you're able to. Yeah. And
then I think like if you're very passionate about, like I said, like running, even trail running is like a whole different brand of running or subtype of running shoes, or tennis shoes, or you know, like whatever sport or activity you like to do, in order to build longevity in that activity, I would recommend like investing in a good pair of shoes for that. You know, I think when you invest in a good pair of shoes, you see that you don't have to continuously replace them either. And I think that just feeds into less is more, essentially. I would much rather spend more on things that will last me a long time and will help me for a long time than not.
So like more bang for your buck, but also you're getting so much more out of it physically.
Exactly.
And I want to tie that back into kind of the energy aspect, where we're starting from the ground up. We're really grounding into ourselves. A lot of us lately have been feeling anxious, overwhelmed. A lot of what we consume online or even physically, right? There's just a lot going on. And a lot of information that we're taking in. And grounding is one of the most important things, I say. And grounding is essentially just connecting back to your body, back to the earth, like bringing everything back in that you may feel scattered about, if that makes sense. And I like to, visualize roots coming from my feet into the ground, and like you said, the physical grounding practices of walking outside on the grass and out in nature, those are, things that people can do as well, just to get themselves more connected to their physical body. And I think embodying that and becoming more conscious. I think consciousness and physical therapy go hand in hand, because the more you're mindful about the activities you're doing, even just walking and picking out a pair of shoes, the more you're able to feel good holistically. Not just physically, not just mentally and spiritually, kind of both. And it helps with every aspect of your being.
I think it's interesting that you mentioned consciousness, because this kind of ties into that other point that I made earlier to you about being present in your physical body. And this ties into anything, including the kind of shoes that you wear, because it's important to listen to what your body needs in order to give it what it needs. So like if you're not listening to your body, when you're walking and start to see an increase in back pain or joint pain in general, and if you're not paying attention to those cues, you're not present, the next time you buy shoes, you're not going to buy what you're actually needing. You're going to buy something subconsciously or without thinking, and that's just going to continue to feed into more and more pain signals from your body. So I think you have to listen to what it is your body's asking of you in order to give it what it needs. And so I think like a good example of that is when you're at the gym, or even with my patients, I'll notice when you're finished with the set, you're automatically on your phone while you're taking a break. You're finding the next song, or you're on social media, you're responding to a text. Like your mind isn't there. And during that recovery period is actually when your body is giving you the most feedback. It's telling you like, how did that exercise feel now that your body is static and at rest? Like what was the response to that activity? What is activated, what isn't activated, like so much feedback that will help you, tailor the exercise to what you need from it and what your body needs from it, instead of just doing the exercise to do the exercise. And even in physical therapy, I think like patients will tell me like, yesterday I did something and I pulled my back out, or I, twisted my ankle, and I'll say, what did you do? And they can't recall it. And part of it is that we're just really not present with our day-to-day activity. And if we were, then we would know more often than not where the pain is coming from, what is causing it, what is our body telling us. Pain signals, I think we want to like continuously turn them off, or take painkillers, or we like try to numb the pain, but the body is using that as a way of telling you what to do, what it needs. Your hips feel tight. Okay, like we need to move them. We need to move them into certain positions that your body needs in order to release some of that energy. So I feel like it's like without being present, you're not aware of what is happening, So how can you help rehab it then? So I think like it takes a lot from the PT, obviously, to like help give the body what it needs. But if the patient doesn't even know in the first place, then it's hard for me to also give,
Yeah, no, I love that so much. And I think that also kind of segues into what can we do about this, right? And how can we merge the gap? So could there perhaps be a way where patients, or even if you're going to the gym to do your own sort of exercise or kind of continue that rehab on your own, can they do something in between? Like instead of going on their phone, should they bring a little journal and like maybe, go through those prompts you gave and say, hey, how does my body actually feel? Because I didn't know that after those sort of exercises, that's the time to really listen in. Because I mean, to be honest, I would probably just do the same thing and be on to the next.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And even like, so actually to your first point, yes, I think in the beginning to get the ball rolling and make it more of a second nature response, I would definitely like actively write down or mentally at least go through those questions. Like, how did that feel? What am I feeling? Where am I feeling it? What quality of pain is it? Or if you're feeling pain, just some questions to think about. But I think like, even when we think about rest days, not just like recovery in between sets, but like recovery between days that we work out, we have a population of people who just like don't believe in recovery days at all. They're like 7 days a week. I got to keep moving no matter what. And then we have people who may take too many rest days between working out, and what is that sweet spot? And I think like the first step to understanding what that sweet spot is giving yourself rest, and like fully, just like you would, think about what is going on when you're resting between sets. Think about between days. How did your body feel after that workout? Is there anything that you could have done differently? Can you do this exercise before this exercise to feel more warmed up, or XYZ? Reflecting on the day and reflecting on how you can make it better or what you can change next time. I think that is so important, and it's important to build that into your week in a way where you get it consistently throughout the week. Don't just like work out all at once and then like then tell your body like, okay, Saturday and Sunday I'm not going to do anything, and then I'm just kind of like dead. Like build it in throughout the week and be really mindful when you're taking those recovery days. What is your body feeling during those recovery days? So I think there's really like a biopsychosocial aspect to it that we don't pay attention to enough.
Yeah, no, I think that makes a lot of sense. So the mindfulness, the consciousness, the just being present is super important in your physical healing, as well as your just spiritual healing as well, which I believe goes hand in hand. If it's foot pain, maybe it's ungroundedness. If it's hip pain, maybe there's a lot of emotion stored there. Like you never know what it could be telling you, what your body could be telling you. And from a spiritual perspective, ways to ground could be breath work, meditation, going outside for a walk in nature, which, there's overlaps, right, in both, which is really cool. But once we look at things as a whole, it really changes our perspective. And I think that's why our conversation today was really important. Because it connects and bridges the gap between, like, science and spirituality.
Yes.
And I think that is, like, there shouldn't be a gap. Because it's all the same. We're talking in the same terms, and we're uncovering more with, like, the information that we share with one another. Yeah, totally. I was such a black and white person going into college and grad school. I was like, if there's not a scientific reason for it, then I don't believe in it. It took me forever, like the whole idea of reincarnation for the longest time. I was like, does not happen. There's no proof. There's no evidence. It took me learning the law of conservation of energy and the fact that energy can't be created or destroyed. It's just transformed, that I was like, okay, reincarnation makes sense. But that is like literally exhibit A of how like science and spirituality intersect,
work so closely together. And like you can find the black and white in the gray, and in this case, like, you can find the science within spirituality, and I think like it's evident in everything that we do. And since like working with you and like experiencing Reiki and just like even some of the readings we've experienced together, seeing it manifest in front of me makes me realize like this is this energy being transformed into different things, and the same can happen in your physical body.
Yeah. And I've experienced the same from you. After having 2 kids back to back, my hips were like really out of place and unaligned. And there were times at the end of the day it would be really hard to walk and I'd limp. And I'm like, my body is telling me something. And, you know, we've been working on that. I've been doing more of those exercises. You showed me more yoga, and you kind of realigned my hips a couple of times. It was a huge release, right? Like it was like a huge vibration that came out. It was crazy on both sides, but that was the energetic release physically manifesting itself. But yeah, so where can people find you? What is your specialty? Just a little synopsis before we go, just so people know kind of a little bit about you and
so
what you do.
I treat both orthopedics and pelvic floor physical therapy. So within most of my population right now is within pelvic floor. So anywhere between like postpartum, pregnancy prep, male pelvic health, pelvic pain, any bladder or bowel disorders, and then any orthopedic injuries too. I work in Westchester. I'm in Armonk at Spear Physical Therapy. And yeah.
Awesome. That is amazing. And I think we should do a follow-up one day about pelvic floor.
Yeah.
You know, we could do a little longer session about that, since that's your specialty. But for some reason, the feet came in today as a strong topic
this
for us.
This is definitely more of like an orthopedic focus.
It really was. Okay, and grounding kind of focus as well. I think this is what people need right now. That's why that came up.
For sure.
But yeah, awesome. I'm Megan Kieran. I am an intuitive guide and spiritual healer, and you can find me at the Om Light.
Hell yeah.
For any private sessions, readings.
I fully recommend.
Thank you. Yeah, we're doing my light activation method. And we're on week 2. And we should do a recap actually of that at the 5th week. That would be cool to get your perspective on it.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Well, thanks everybody. We'll drop all of Purvi's information below if you're interested in reaching out to her for any of your physical therapy needs. I'll see you next time. Namaste. I hope you enjoyed this episode. Please check out my socials at The Om Light on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and Spotify. You can also find me at theomlight.com. Sessions are now open and available. One-on-one sessions are super helpful for anything you may be going through in your life to help you feel more aligned and clear.